2017's Prey. An underappreciated classic, or am I glad that the game didn't sell that well? Find out now on today's episode of Back at the Backlog. Hey Finn, I was gonna ask you... Dude, what are you doing? We had an agreement on shape-shifting.
I'm sorry. It is so much easier to play games with human hands. Look, I was thinking, can we maybe make a deal?
I'm not listening until you turn back into yourself.
Alright. I was thinking, what's the harm in me being you when playing games if you aren't around?
That's a slippery slope. What if someone else is around?
Then I won't. We can make a bit of a schedule where I know I'd be alone to play some games.
I don't know.
There's literally no harm. I only do it during certain hours so I can use a controller with human hands. You would never see it.
It's that annoying to play with your normal hands?
Look at my hands. Yes, it is.
Alright, fine. We'll find you a good time slot, but it's only for playing games. And if you're with someone during that time slot, you don't do it. You gotta be alone. Deal?
Deal.
I'm back at the backlog. Been gone for way too long. I'm back at the backlog. Got so many games to play, dog. I'm back at the backlog. Donkey Kong expands my dome. I'm back at the backlog. Me and Kylo been fucking since dawn. I'm back at the backlog. Did you know that Kylo wears thongs? I'm back at the backlog. I really fucking hate this song. Yeah.
What is up, guys? It is Robert, and welcome to Back at the Backlog, the series where we take a look at the games that I recently beat off my backlog. Today's episode is on the game Prey. I like Bethesda games, I really do, and so when they announced Prey back in 2016, I was definitely interested. I love me some sci-fi and first-person shooting. You got Bethesda publishing. It was a buy for me. Although that original reveal back in 2016 didn't really do anything for me, as it was a CGI trailer, which 17-year-old me said,
who cares what it's gonna be like, because all it is was a CG trailer. It wasn't actually there was no gameplay. So I really didn't care.
I have an older tweet of mine after seeing gameplay though saying, wow, Prey releases May 5th. It looks good. And looking back at an older purchase on Amazon, I picked the game up day one for $40 instead of $60. That's a pretty damn good discount. Good job, 18-year-old Robert. Although I suppose if I waited until I actually played it this year, I could get it as low as $6, so technically I could have saved a lot more money. I own the PC version of this game, and I gotta say I forgot that it comes with an actual disc. Look, it's an actual PC disc. This is something that you will not see very often on this series. Now, you don't actually play the game off the disc. It still downloads the game through Steam, which is good because, admittedly, I don't have a disc drive anymore. But hey, that's cool. I only played this game for like 20 minutes back in 2017, literally until this year. Now, I can't dive deep into this game without first getting into the controversy of this game. In 2006, a game called Prey was released. It sold well enough to have a sequel greenlit. During development, the rights were transferred to ZeniMax, the owner of Bethesda. Then, in 2014, the game was cancelled. 2016 rolls in and they announce a new title, Prey. So yeah, people were pretty confused and frustrated when 2 years ago you cancelled Prey 2, and now you actually have a new Prey game? Is this like a new version of the sequel? Like, what the hell is happening? In the YouTube description for Prey's reveal trailer, Bethesda states, Arkane Studios is bringing their unique vision to Prey, a first-person sci-fi action game that reimagines the franchise from the ground up. So it's a reboot in the franchise of the game you just canceled? Huh? Well, we find out that Prey 2017 has nothing to do with Prey 2006. It used the Prey name for marketing purposes. It wasn't a reimagining of the franchise, it had nothing to do with the franchise. They happened to be making a sci-fi game and some higher-ups at Bethesda forced them to call it Prey. While they thought it would help the game, it actually only hurt it. Prey 2006 wasn't a huge seller, but it sold enough to piss off some people that wanted Prey 2 and not this game, essentially making it a no-buy for those people when they might have bought it if it was named literally anything else. Years later, we have stories about how Arkane really didn't want to call it Prey, as it would be a disservice to the fans of that 2006 game, and, well, pretty fucking confusing. Pete Hines, who used to work at Bethesda, said, "We're burdening it with a name where we spend more time explaining why it's called Prey than we do talking about the game." But the higher-ups won, and now you have two games with the same name, Prey, which I always find annoying because now you gotta say the year and the title. Prey was released on May 5th, 2017. It was developed by Arkane Austin and published by Bethesda Softworks. Controversies can be overlooked if the game is good. And, well, is it? Here we are 9 years after its original release. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the story first. It is March 15th, 2032. We play as Morgan Yu, who you could pick to be either male or female, which I picked the male as I just associate that character model to Morgan as I saw him in trailers. He wakes to his brother Alex, telling him he sent a helicopter to come pick him up to perform some tests and appreciates Morgan for coming on board the research team of TranStar. While in the helicopter, we get an awesome opening with the Bethesda and Arkane logos on top of buildings and land with the big title of Prey. Super cool and unique opening title. We go through some tests that is very much a tutorial of the game, showing us how to jump, run, crouch, throw, the usual. It's a fun way to do a tutorial while implementing it within the story. However, during our last test, one scientist picks up a coffee mug that wasn't there a second ago, and out of nowhere, it turns out to be some alien creature killing him and likely everyone in that room as Morgan passes out. Morgan wakes up again on March 15th, 2032. This time, however, the hallways outside are damaged with a dead body. We hear someone called January tell us that what just happened was real, and we have to escape our apartment as Morgan is not safe. With our new wrench, we smash the window of our apartment and... whoa. Yeah, turns out everything around Morgan was a simulation. It's actually the year 2035, and Morgan is in space on a station called the Talos 1. There's not much we know, but what we do know is that there's a lot of fucked up shit that has happened on Talos 1. There are a bunch of dead employees, and there are alien creatures all over called the Typhon. The person January is actually an operator, a robotic backup of Morgan and his memories. The reason Morgan doesn't remember anything is because of the neuromods they've been testing. Neuromods are tools that can upgrade a person's ability, which they've been testing new ones based on the Typhons. The problem is when uninstalling a neuromod, it resets your memory back to when you first installed it. And while there's a process to bring someone up to speed during test runs, someone can skip that part, making that user potentially skip years of their life, and that's exactly what Alex has been doing to Morgan. Why? Well, it's a mystery as Alex is making sure to block us from that answer, so we set out to find Alex, who is alive, and get some answers. That is a big ass intro with an amazing hook. Finding out it's a whole simulation, discovering you're in space in a fucked up alien filled station, and the mystery of why Alex is doing this to Morgan is such a fantastic setup. It's a lot to take in at first, and we're just as clueless as Morgan is, and that makes these sudden changes and mysteries that much more gripping from the start. Right off the bat, visually this game is great. This is from the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One generation, and as they still release games on those platforms in 2026, it's not really a night and day difference from games visually today. Prey could have been released in 2026, and I wouldn't have batted an eye. Sure, there'd be some improvements here and there, but come on, let's be for real here. This sci-fi futuristic station of Talos 1 is beautifully designed with every single room built to perfection. Talos 1 is one of the best locations I think I've explored in a game. Nothing feels out of place. Everything feels expertly crafted, like what would be a real space station that has been lived in, experimented on, and also wrecked with something horrible happening. Every computer you encounter is owned by a human being that is on board that you can find, whether they are dead or alive, with their own unique first and last names. They have countless emails and audio logs showcasing that relationships, bonds were formed on this very station. It makes this very dead station feel alive. I loved exploring every nook and cranny of this station, going out of my way to make sure I see and explore as many of the rooms as I can, as there's never a dull area. The atmosphere is absolutely incredible, with some genuinely intense moments thanks to the soundtrack amping up at just the right moments. Prey isn't a straight up horror game, but there are horror elements creating tension when roaming around the unfamiliar territories. Whether you are looking for materials, completing some side missions, or just wanting to see the designs, Talos 1 is one of the most memorable gaming worlds I've ever explored.
I would live on Talos 1. It's fancy as hell.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's very hotel-like because a lot of rich people and celebrities would go and be treated amazingly.
So, we'd be able to go then.
I don't know about that. We aren't rich or celebrities.
Hey now, speak for yourself.
I hate to say it, man, but Adam Driver would be accepted. Not you.
Oh man, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Now in Talos 1, you'll encounter a bunch of Typhons. There's not a ton of variety of Typhon creatures, but they introduce variations of a few to change it up a bit more later on in the game. The first one you encounter are the Mimics. Mimics are these spider-like creatures that can shapeshift into any objects around you. I love the concept of these creatures hiding in literal plain sight. Sometimes an object will move slightly or have a slight noise, not letting you be completely unaware, but it's also incredibly easy to miss any small signs they are there and will lunge at you to attack. I did have a chipset installed for most of the game though that can detect hidden mimics, so you can get the jump on them before they jump you. Phantoms are like the most humanoid in shape as they shoot out energy at you, and they come in multiple forms like the thermal ones with fire-based attacks. Telepaths are these huge floating creatures that shoot out some powerful energy and have the ability to mind control humans, having them attack you, making an encounter with one of these usually a bit of an army sometimes. The biggest Typhon you encounter are the Nightmares, these huge aggressive creatures that are essentially mini bosses. The first time I saw one, I couldn't do shit against it. It's a unique enemy in which a timer countdown starts and you gotta survive the countdown, kill it, or run away. Nightmares pop up pretty infrequently, but early on it definitely created some intensity. That's the same with all these Typhon encounters. Early on, the Typhon is just a lot more powerful than you, but once you start collecting neuromods, the playing field becomes a lot more even. Neuromods allow you to upgrade everything about Morgan, from his health, to the size of his inventory, to entire brand new abilities. Pretty much every single neuromod upgrade is helpful and interesting in some way. You will not unlock most of these upgrades in one playthrough. This is where people's playthroughs will start to differ from each other. For example, I went a lot in combat focus, which slows down time, enemies, yourself, and actions use up less stamina like swinging a wrench. Upgrading just the combat focus alone changes things, as maxing it out allows you to slow down everything but your movement and increases your damage within that time frame. I also upgraded almost fully all of my shotgun weapon stats using both neuromods and weapon upgrade kits. This eventually turned Morgan into a total beast, running around at normal pace with everything else slowed down, shooting my shotgun at peak damage with extra damage, taking out even a Nightmare with ease. It is just so satisfying to pull off. That was more towards the ending of the game, as it does take a lot of neuromods to upgrade that all, and it's also because there are just many abilities that sounded interesting. You'll eventually get the abilities of the Typhon, and there are just so many to pick from. You'll slowly unlock new Typhon abilities by scanning the variety of Typhon, making you appreciate the new ones you might pick instead of getting bombarded by all of them at once. Typhon abilities use up its own PSI power bar that you can replenish with PSI hypos you'll find or fabricate. I really liked Psycho Shock, which allows you to deal a direct psychic attack to an enemy and nullify their PSI abilities for a certain amount of time. Using the Typhon's own PSI abilities against them is just awesome and made this game very unique to other games in the genre. There are so many abilities I missed that it just shows that someone else had a completely different way of attacking. Trust me when I say I really did go out of my way to get as many neuromods as I can. You can even fabricate neuromods, which was great. I ended up installing a little over 100 neuromods, which isn't even close to the nearly 400 to max out literally everything, and that was with doing a bunch of side missions and fabricating. Definitely encouraging a new game plus, allowing you to bring all your neuromods already installed into a second playthrough. Even when the game was nearing its end, I just didn't want to finish as I was having a lot of fun and wanted to upgrade more abilities.
Since I could do a lot of these Typhon powers in real life, I focused on more human abilities to see what it's like to be human.
I mean, they still are very superhuman, so you're not going to feel very human in that way.
Funny enough, I chose pretty much all the Typhon abilities since I wanted it to be more alien-like.
Nice.
I didn't install a single neuromod. And don't ask about a recording because I don't know how to record on PC.
Oh, see, that's bullshit. It's literally the easiest platform to record on. You know, whatever, we're moving on. There's a small but nice variety of weapons you'll be using to take on the Typhon. You get a pistol and shotgun that are fun to use, but then there's also the unique weapons created specifically for prey. The Q-beam allows you to shoot out this powerful beam, damaging the enemy until it explodes. Very satisfying. The glue cannon is one of the most unique weapons in a shooter ever, as it's not only meant for enemies, but also traversal. This is a game where you have genuine freedom in how you approach a situation. For example, there's this one greenhouse that has a mission objective, but the entrance is locked. The most basic way to get in is to find a code, whether it be through emails, notes, audio logs. There's multiple ways you might find the code. You can skip the code by upgrading your hacking skills. This has you do a fun little mini game controlling a ball and getting to a goal, which unlocks the door. Another way is by creating platforms using the glue cannon to get to the top of the building and drop inside. Yes, this one obstacle has 3 different ways to get in. Finding a code, hacking in, or literally using your weapon to create access to the top. It is absolutely brilliant. And this is only one situation. There are always so many ways to approach something, very much experimentation in the best way possible. I made platforms to the top and it blew my mind that that was actually one way to do it. For me, it showed how impressively versatile the glue cannon was. Shooting enemies with the glue slows and even freezes enemies temporarily. If there's fire in your way, shoot some glue on the pipe to cover the fire up. And then, create your own staircases to climb up higher places. There are many secret passageways that are high up and easily missable but can be accessed by creating your own way up there. The glue cannon is easily one of the most creative weapons I've used in a game. There's just nothing else like it. This overall game takes another thing from the horror genre, which is resource management. By the end of the game, you'll likely have a good amount of resources depending on your exploration and side missions you complete, but ammo isn't infinite and there are definitely a good amount of times where I was either low or completely drained of ammo. Sometimes the best course of action is just to run away because you are running low on health kits even if you have some other form of weapon. This is where the fabricator and recycler comes into play. You'll find some small amounts of weapon ammo, health packs, PSI, hypos around Talos 1, but to truly have larger amounts in your inventory is by fabricating or crafting your own. What seems to be damn near every object in this game can be interacted with, and that includes taking and storing it in your inventory. Some might be slight health benefits, but most is pure junk that you could take to a recycler and do exactly that. Recycle everything you come across, which then gives you helpful materials that you can use in a fabricator, allowing you to fabricate so many different things like weapons, but the most important things, ammo, and neuromods. Once this clicked with me that all these grabbable items are used to create some really important shit, it made scavenging incredibly worth it and a lot of fun. This made exploration super rewarding as checking everything around you has a purpose. Nothing in this world is created for nothing. Every object you see is there with a purpose. That even includes items that you can't put in your inventory. You can upgrade your strength to pick up big objects and throw them at enemies, or even remove blockades from rooms, allowing for more exploration. There are just so many ways to get around, to attack, to craft. It's all up to you and genuinely creates such a personal and immersive experience. I really enjoyed the side missions a lot as they are fleshed out, going through locations at the station that you might completely miss. I ended up playing almost 30 hours, which is double the average play time of the main story because I thought they made some really engaging missions that sounded interesting. Some offer some genuine decisions, like one where you have to choose whether or not to explode a ship that is landing soon on Earth with Typhon on board, and while you don't see the ship, I thought the idea of just pressing a button on a computer that will dictate whether a group of people live or die was quite the intense decision, and I just happened to stumble upon it. Which I did blow up the ship. RIP to the people on the ship, but Earth would be done if Typhon got there. One of the coolest areas of Talos 1 was the exterior. You can literally go out into space, which I thought was really neat, but it's actually even more impressive when you realize that you genuinely move around the entire outside of this station with several entrances and exits as it stretches out for quite a big distance. This area is some of the best space low gravity design that I've ever seen in a game. Space was handled in a way where it genuinely can be confusing as to what is up and what is down. You have the pure freedom of just rotating yourself and also flipping yourself in any angle, really making it feel like you were floating in space. There's also a lot more things to explore and check out, like a shipwreck stuck in the far distance with people inside dead, floating forever with audio logs telling us a story of what happened. It is such a super cool and well designed part of the game. In terms of movement inside Talos 1, I really like the ability to glide as you jump off high places and slowly descend right before landing, or getting those extra feet to get to a higher place. It's just another thing that felt awesome and added to the freedom of how you want to play. The only negative to this game for me was during the last few missions where exploration unfortunately gets cut for me, as these military operators are constantly sent out and for some reason just take a lot of shots to destroy. Prior to this, enemies didn't respawn, but eventually after some main missions they add some new enemies to locations you've already been. This allowed you to maneuver around Talos 1 with genuine progress as you took out the Typhon, but for some reason they thought it would be cool to add these annoying robotic operators that would shoot at you and just never stopped respawning every few minutes. They were just a huge buzzkill in a game that I had no frustrations with prior to this. Once this happened, I ended up just saying screw it and went to do the final couple missions, which is a shame I feel, as I would have done a few more side quests if they didn't have these bastards patrolling in damn near all of Talos 1. As for the ending, I'm now going to talk about it just to let you know. We speak to Alex, who tells Morgan to scan this coral stuff that is seen around Talos 1. It turns out that it's the Typhon creating some sort of neural network to communicate from afar, and that they are summoning something. We finally meet up with Alex and are given two choices: destroy Talos 1, which is something Morgan felt he should do, and what January has been telling us to do for quite a while. It's interesting because that was a previous memory of Morgan, but Alex hopes you'll go with his plan instead, as he believes that's just an idea you had in the past and makes no sense anymore. Destroying Talos 1 obviously kills everyone on board, including the Typhon, but also destroys all the research and data on neuromods, and Alex believes that can change humanity. He wants Morgan to fabricate a no-wave device that will potentially only destroy all the Typhon on board, keeping Talos 1 intact and everyone in the research alive. Just as you grab the no-wave plan, a massive Typhon called the Apex breaks into the station, causing the area to be low gravity, knocking out Alex and giving you the chance to either save him or not. And yeah, now you got a massive Typhon on board with two choices to pick from. Blow everything up and make sure this never reaches Earth, or attempt to just destroy the Typhon. I ended up doing both endings, as I wanted to just try every combination I could, as I think this game is really damn great. When it comes to Morgan blowing up Talos 1, it's exactly that. Before activating Talos 1's self-destruct, you see Alex and January talking to each other. I ended up saving and reloading to try out multiple things. I listened to their discussion of how January tells Alex that he is only doing what he was programmed to do, including knocking out Alex to make sure he doesn't interfere, which is exactly what Morgan programmed January to do. Then I tried just straight up killing Alex, which I wasn't sure you could do, but you can, and bounced all hilariously high with the ragdoll physics. January's dialogue doesn't change when you do that though, which is unfortunate. Then I instead destroyed January and Alex no longer gets knocked out, and does have new dialogue, which was very cool, saying how it's not too late to change your mind and go with the no wave, but he won't stop Morgan if he decides to end it all. Regardless, you activate the self-destruct and Alex is just disappointed and says the worst part is not losing Tech, but his brother. I then shot him one more time because the ragdoll physics are funny as hell. Then I also did the same ending, but I went into an escape pod before Talos 1 exploded, hearing one of the characters you meet pleading with Morgan to respond, as she thought Morgan agreed to die with the station, and the ending cutscene shows an escape pod making it out to Earth while Talos 1 explodes in the background. Dying with the station is the same cutscene, just without the escape pod. The no-wave ending has you planting a no-wave transmitter in the heart of the coral, and then activating it in a room with Alex in January. However, January refuses to give you access and says you'll have to kill him to activate it. January says even if it works, only a privileged few will get neuromods, with many dying. Destroying the station will stop the Typhon. Well, we destroy January and activate the null wave, which does seem to work as the giant apex Typhon is eradicated. This time we hear a dialogue of Alex saying, "What is a neuromod? It's immortality, and it's beautiful." And then the credits roll. I'll admit, when first doing an ending, I was rather disappointed. All you get is a 10-second cutscene of a station exploding or not exploding. The credits themselves are pretty cool, seeing a normal day at Talos 1 and then the Typhons start to cause mayhem, but then a post-credit scene happens that completely makes up for a lackluster finale. A chamber opens up with 4 operators and Alex staring at you. Alex says, "How did it do?" The operators one by one tell Alex what we did throughout our playthrough. Talks about people we saved, neuromods we installed, and whether or not they let us live. Alex then shows us that Earth has been invaded by the Typhon. He tells us that
we spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now.
That we are the bridge between our species, and to shake his hand if we truly see humanity. I shook his hand as we see in a big twist that we've been playing as a Typhon this entire game. We've been in a simulation experiment using Morgan's memories to see whether or not the Typhon can learn human empathy and emotion. Now that is a fucking cool ass twist.
Prey is the best game of all time.
See? You're doing it again. This is just your new favorite game because you play as an alien.
No, it's because it's amazing.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you slide with this one. For now. If you end up not doing certain things throughout your playthrough, they fail you, saying this isn't the one and start over. Like I said, I did a bunch of side missions and stuff, so it was enough for them to see me as a success. In the end, you could also kill them all, which I had to try also. So while the 2 endings don't really change the outcome, it is the post-credit scene that makes the ending really awesome. As for what is the good ending, I would argue Alex is right, and having the research on the Typhon is pretty important. It doesn't really make sense for me to destroy Talos 1, as sure, many won't get the benefit of neuromods, but leaving Earth in the dark on Typhon that will inevitably get there makes no sense to me. That was a great ending overall though, with me wanting to try different things just to see what would happen. That was Prey. This was a fantastic game. Prey was an incredibly atmospheric sci-fi adventure set in one of the most well-crafted worlds I've ever explored. The pure freedom and literally everything you do is just so great and allows for people to discuss their playthroughs in different ways. You got so many interesting and fun abilities to play with and some unique weapons to attack with. This is genuinely a top-tier first-person shooter. One I like to come back to and play New Game Plus to unlock even more abilities one day. Overall, I'm gonna give Prey a... I can't believe Arkane Austin shut down. Out of 10. What an awesome game with an unfortunate end to this story. Arkane Austin was shut down by Microsoft. Their last game, Redfall, was a game that wasn't received well and also sold poorly. The worst part about that is the studio didn't even want to make Redfall. Redfall was a live service multiplayer game made by a studio who was talented at making single player games. Prey sold around 1.5 million copies, which technically sounds good, but I guess not enough for its budget, so Bethesda pushed Arkane Austin into making a multiplayer game. So the same higher-ups that pushed for the title Prey, making it a confusing and frustrating marketing job, are the same higher-ups that felt they know better and that a multiplayer game was the way to go. But in reality, it's the higher-ups' fault that Arkane Austin is no longer here today. Dumb, odd, ignorant mandates happen all the time in the gaming industry, and unfortunately this is a case where a very talented studio with a bright future ahead of them was shut down due to choices out of their control. I would love to have seen what Arkane Austin would have developed next if it was up to them. But now, we'll never know. At least they got to make this incredible game. That'll be for today though. This was the start of Season 7 of Back of the Backlog, and it definitely started pretty awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Have you played Prey 2017? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Prey was a fantastic, immersive sci-fi experience, but it is officially out of the backlog.
look really good tonight. Thanks. I gotta ask, how does it feel to be the face of a franchise? Oh, Rob! I wasn't expecting to see you.
Already breaking rules. I wasn't expecting to see you, Isabel. Big fan of Animal Crossing. Nice to meet you. Brother. Makes sense. On a date.
Yeah, you know I talked about Isabel before.
No, I can't do this. He's not my brother.
Yeah, we're not literally brothers. He's my cousin, but like a brother to me.
No, we're not even related.
Yeah, not actually related. He's my doppelganger, who I joke around is like my long lost cousin, who's like a brother to me.
Finn.
Just give me a couple hours, and we'll talk later. Please.
No, Finn. Tell the truth. Go on.
I'm not actually human. I'm an alien who can shapeshift. Please don't be mad at me. I just want to be seen. Okay.
Okay.
You really think so?
Damn, bitch, I'm standing right here.
Don't call her a bitch.
I mean, in this case, it literally works.
Will you still date me, Isabel, even after lying about my appearance? I have no more lies, I swear.
Alright, well, I'm glad that's all settled. See, Finn? It's good to be yourself. And now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go start the next game because I'm pretty excited about that.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one.